Hi everyone. Um, I know I wanted to record a video on how I prep my personal self on how I attend the VFW conventions. There's two conventions, or I should say, big events held by the departments of each state. Um, since I'm a member of the VFW Auxiliary in Texas, I attend the ones in Texas. And this is what I do, and they usually have a convention that they do in June to elect and install officers. And they also have a what they call midwinter roundup in January. And I've never been to one of those, but this is how I prepare for the convention in June. So let's get started. First thing I do is, oh, by the way, I'm looking at notes. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So I'm not trying to be rude, but notes. So I don't forget anything. The first thing I do is I request off from work. If you're a person that still works, like myself, most companies require at least 2 weeks. Sometimes, if it's something like big, probably a month or two in advance to of being off. My company requires being off 2 weeks. Giving two. Getting tongue tied. Request 2 weeks notice of request of being off. Now, for something like this, because you're going out of town, like vacation, or if you're going out of town vacation or convention, going on a trip out of state, or not out of state, out of your hometown or city, you probably need to do a little bit more advanced warning. So for that to get approval, because we can't. It's not an automatic thing. It's you put in a request. Like, I believe this is how it works for most companies, or at least for my company. You put in a request, and you have to put it in 2 weeks prior to the date you want off. You put in a request, and the management, depending on how much staff we are available or who's prior off, will get and it's first come first serve, gets that date off. Now, if there's something big, my company does have blackout dates, and January being one of them. Hence, one reason why I don't, even though I would like to, I don't attend midwinter roundup, is because my company has blackout dates, and January is a big one of it because it's boost enrollment in our schools, because I work in childcare. So, but since I sometimes out of, or a lot of times out of the city I live in, I put in at least 6 to 7 months in advance of the convention. The convention for Texas is in June. June, I believe, 13th through the 16th of June, 2019. So I put my request in last month. So my boss got my request off 6.5 months prior to convention. She approved it. I'm off. So the next step I do is, this is going to sound a little bit weird and kind of odd, but I like to get my W-2s done. I know. I like to get my W-2s and do my taxes by end of February. By the end of February. So I can get my refund by March. So it could be sitting in my bank account, so I can use some of the tax money, or some of the interest off my tax money, to use for convention. So that's where it makes sense. And so if there's any kind of, if I owe taxes, which I don't normally do, because I usually have the government take out more of my paycheck than they need to, and then I usually get a refund. So that also helps. As soon as I do my taxes, I book my refund. I mean, not book my refund, book my hotel room. I do that as fast as I possibly can. Couple tips on booking your hotel room. Usually, they require you to have a credit card. You can use your debit card because I've done it before, but remember, they will not charge you until you check in. And you need to make sure you have that money. If you're using your debit card, make sure you have that money in your account plus probably another $200 at least, because they tend to charge, especially on debit cards. And if you do cash, pay in cash, they require you to pay at least $100 to $200 of a, I forget what they call it. It's not really a fee. It's a incidental fee, just in case if you happen to mess something up in the room or you order room service or something, they'll take that money out. So just remember that it is. I have booked hotel rooms on my credit card and then able to pay it off when I can. But I like to have the money up front for my trip flat out. The next thing I do is plan my budget. So booking your hotel room, another thing let me go back to the next step. Booking your hotel room as fast as you can. And also, if you're attending the VFW convention, mention VFW Department of Texas convention. So that way you know they're part of your group or the group that you're attending for the convention. Also, plan your budget. Booking your hotel room will also help you with planning your budget. I mean, so you know, okay, I'm paying, I want to say, $125 per night. It's not necessarily that much. I'm paying $120 per night. Plus, I'm going to have to pay, booking your hotel room, you're going to know there are going to be charges for state tax and city tax for your rooms. So plan on an extra other $20, $25 on top of the $120 a night. Yeah, this is per night. So you know, so okay, you're staying 4 nights, that's $425, so that's $500 plus another $100 on top of that for your taxes. Now, tip you if you are a single person or you're not traveling with your spouse and you like to share a room, ask other auxiliary members if they would like to share a room with you. So that way you can split the cost of the hotel room. I've known auxiliary members that have split the hotel room and stayed 4 to a room and they each paid for a night. That makes it easier on you. Plan on food. I plan on between anywhere from $15 to $25 per night, not per night, per meal, per day. That especially if I do on the higher side, 25, which is the $25, which if there's not many inexpensive eating areas in the area, it leaves me plenty of money for those meals. There is times where it has been where I haven't used any of that money, or not. I didn't say any of that money, not all of the money, because I tend to bring money for. I tend to bring snacks and stuff, which I'll say again. I tend to bring snacks. I tend to bring stuff that I can eat for breakfast, like maybe muffins or granola bars, and then I also bring snacks and bottled water. So that doesn't use up my food money. You know what I'm saying? Because I try to budget for food, snacks, drinks, that kind of thing. So I'll bring my own bottled water. I'll bring my own soda. So you don't have to go to the convenience store and pay, say, a $1.50 for a 20-ounce bottle of soda. I've got my own that I bought at Sam's for a 36-pack for $10, so I paid less than 50 cents per can. Also add into your budget for transportation. If you are riding with somebody, chip in for gas, or you're driving your own car, add in for gas. Or if you're riding a bus, or are you flying and then taking a taxi, those things need to go into your budget as well as extras. For example, you may want to budget in maybe $100 for in kind of shopping, because this year's convention is at in Houston and the Gallery Mall, and they tend to be a little bit more. It's a shop as the hotel is in a shopping mall, so you may want to do a little shopping. So that might help, as well as buying stuff from the store. When it gets closer to the date, I also like to confirm with my boss, hey, don't forget I am off for these dates for the convention. I also confirm with the hotel, and they also will send you a confirmation email if you have it. When it gets to the week of the convention, even though I wash my clothes on Saturday. Typically, I wash my clothes again to make sure I have every article of clothing I want prior, and I start laying things out that I want to wear to the convention. I also start laying out my clothes and toiletries. I also start buying the week of the convention. I'm sorry. I start buying my snacks and my snacks, drinks, breakfast items, and the things I usually take. I'll take like some candy, some chips, granola bars. Sometimes I'll bring muffins. I also bring the Pepsi, because I like to drink Pepsi. I like to have my one Pepsi, and then I also like to bring bottled water. Typically, I usually bring about 20 to 25 of these 16-ounce bottles of water. I've been decreasing a little bit and buying the bigger bottles of water and bring less bottles. This year I may, and of years I've also bring one of those little water bottles that has a filter in it. That also cuts down on the amount of items you're carrying and heavy items, so that does help as well. Then the day before I'm leaving for convention, I also bring my I start packing everything, and I also make sure I have a list and I'm checking everything on my list. I hope this was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.